man, when I learned this, I felt like I struck gold. I'd walk into a shop and I'd start saying, well, we're experts. I knew what we did, so we're experts in cast iron, and we do big parts, and we do parts that can go on your machines, and we have close tolerance work, and I know all that stuff, you know? But that wasn't their problem. You know, their problem might be quality, or their problem, I didn't even ask them about their problem at first. But when I saw this, sell the problem you solve, suddenly the equation turned from me to them. And it was a different conversation entirely. Suddenly, it was all about the questions you ask. And I found out that women can get away, girls in those days, can get away with asking people a lot of different things, and they didn't get defensive. You know, they didn't get confrontational. They didn't think I was out to get what they had. So I made a list of all the questions that you could ask that not everybody asks. You know, what do you expect? Describe the traits. These will be all on the website, right? Yeah. Tell me about an over-the-top customer experience you've had. I'd ask them about their personal life. What's in their office? Do they golf? Do they play ball? Do they have kids? One of the best buyers, we used to do a lot of work for Gleason that made hydraulic valves. And right on his door, when you walked into it, there was a picture of a man, hair, you know, all wild, big guy, and it said, Dad, you are Hamson, Hamson. Dad, you are Hamson. And he was so proud of that. I mean, it was his 4-year-old that drew it. So right away, I knew he was all about kids. And so we could talk about that, and we had common ground. And that was what you did. One of the best things I ever asked, and what probably got me a lot of work, is what would it take for you to move to sell things to me? What would it take for you to start using my company? Would it take a failure? No. Ask the questions. And today, I would add one more. What's your preferred method of communication? You know, nobody answers the damn phone anymore. Yeah, and I should start this with, I learned to talk in a machine shop, okay? So sometimes I come out with that kind of stuff. But, you know, sometimes I prefer text. Sometimes I prefer the phone. Sometimes I prefer a letter. Meet them where they are. Do what they want. Nothing will change until the pain of not changing is greater than the pain of changing. Is that right? God knows. Yeah. I mean, you know, you walk into this office cold, they don't know you from Jill. You know, you try to sell them something, why should they go with you? But I found out that I'm really good at Chinese water torture. I am persistent. Drip, drip, drip. And I had ways to contact our customers. I would send them I had a hit list of my top 10 customers. And every month, these are a series of 4, and I did this probably 7-8 years, of different postcards, read front and back. The back was always the last, I'm sorry. But of different postcards, you know, and I'd send those to my top 10 customers. And every month they get a customer, they get the postcard. And sometimes I use them for thank yous. But you know, the next time I went and called on them, and the next time, they had these things on their wall, posted on their wall. And they said, nobody does this. You know, it's great. We love these things. We're kind of the heroes in the purchasing department because we got wallpaper. I stumbled into an entrepreneurs group. And I had to go to the Twin Cities to go to my inner circle. But the advice I got from that roundtable was amazing. And in this group, we had lots of different experiences. We would have, and lots of different businesses represented. There was a magician, a professional magician. There was a venture capitalist. There was a marketing expert. There was an expense reduction analyst. There was a company that had brokerage, homes, realty company. And some of the most valuable tips that I got from that group was they would talk about how do you work a trade show? And so you go to a trade show, and the magician showed me a couple of tricks, you know? And I was doing things that nobody else would do. And so that made me different. That made me stand apart. And of course, all the boys said that I got away with it because I was a girl. They actually didn't have the guts to do some of the things I did. You know, because it was different. They didn't want to be looked at as different. My board experience, my inner circle. This was an interesting part because when you own a company, it's not all sunshine and roses. It's dirt and grit and tough times sometimes. In the 90s, maybe about a couple of years after I had taken over the business, man, it was tough. I mean, our customers cut back their orders. The economy was rotten. The banker was ugly. No offense, Doyle. You weren't our banker then. But you know, some of the things you have to do when you're in business are hard. We cut hours. Then we cut wages. Then we got put in workouts. Have any of you ever been in a workout with a bank? Oh, you are so lucky. They're on you like stink on a cow pie, let me tell you. But we learned some valuable lessons. And you know, I know that the ideas that I got from the people in that round table saved my business. I wouldn't have asked the bank for certain things. I wouldn't have known enough to ask for certain things. The marketing person came up and wrote a series of letters that I sent out a letter to my customers and said, you know, Raven Machine is offering a sale. You know, whoever gives them a sale in a machine shop, no way. But she brought in $30,000 worth of work with that one letter, just sending it out. My expense reduction analyst in that round table came up to Raven, and he looked through every invoice and every way I spent money, and he saved. And I'll tell you, you don't know the ways you can save money until you start saving, until you start squeaking. It was awful. But, you know, we came out of it. And as a result, when we came out of it, we had a company that we could sell instead of an auction sale for equipment. And I saved 24 jobs and more in a little town, in the industrial park. So that was important to me. And we paid back our employees all the wages that we had cut. Not for their hours, but when we cut wages, we kept track of how much we owed every employee, and we paid it back when the business got good. So if you can just hang around and just be creative and just do the hard stuff instead of taking the easy path and giving up, sometimes it works out. So, yeah. So when it came time to sell Raven, we had a nice book of business, and we decided that we'd sell it. And primarily because China was moving into the manufacturing area. And China was our biggest competitor at that time with the big companies like Dana Gleason and John Deere. They were shipping their work overseas. technology was changing. We would have had to make an investment of a couple $1 million into machining centers. And frankly, my husband just did not want to make that kind of an investment in the future. So I said, well, what am I going to do next? Elmer said, retire, damn it. But I didn't want to retire. And I knew that there was no round table or peer group like this in central Minnesota at that time. And it had been so valuable for me that that's what I decided to do, is start Raven Performance Group. A couple of things I learned through Raven Performance Group. Good, I'm doing okay on time. One of the tools that we used, how many of you have ever been a member of a peer group before? Do you know what it is? Yeah, Steve has been? Okay, great. In my roundtables, then I'll explain what they are. In my roundtables, 8 business owners come together once a month to work on the strategy of their business. And I have roundtables in St. Cloud, and I have roundtables in North Branch, and I have roundtables in Anoka. And one of the tools that we use is the Strengths Finder. And every member takes the Strengths Finder, because the theory is that, no, the fact is that when you work to your strengths and what you're best in, you will improve more than you will improve trying to shore up your weaknesses. So every member takes one of these. And then at these roundtable meetings, each member brings up an issue, the issue they'd most like to have behind them that month. It could be finances. It could be my biggest customer is asking me to reduce my price. What do I do? I don't want to lose my biggest customer. It could be people issues. People issue that came up that I thought was kind of interesting because it was at a manufacturing company is my foreman is sneaking out to his van, and my bookkeeper is sneaking out to his van at noon, and they're making whoopee. And they think nobody notices, but everybody in the shop is talking about them. And they are both key people to my business. I don't want to lose either one of them. What am I going to do? You know? Difficult. I've had other people come and say, my dad's dying of cancer. I've got to be with him. He's in another state. But I don't have a good number 2 person to run my business when I'm gone. What do I do? You know, it's those kind of thorny issues. How do I find a new bank? My banker's leaning on me. I hear all you guys are, you know, paying better interest rates than I am. What do I do? You know, they talk about everything. The conversations and the roundtables are confidential. And I've never had anybody break that. So what I do is what I absolutely love to do. And that's work with small business owners, helping make them more successful, helping them work on their business, and giving them the tools that they need to do the best job that they can. That's my story, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks.
Questions for Linda?
How'd the van story end?
Ashley?
9 months later.
No, these people were both married to other people, and thank heaven that didn't enter in. Actually, he took them aside separately and told them that if they thought that nobody knew, they were mistaken, and that he needed it to stop right now. And they were appalled. They didn't want their co-workers to know this was going on, but it just seemed so convenient. Who noticed? There are no windows in my building. Yep. So he kept both of his employees, and he had a difficult conversation.
I had a question.
Yeah.
How did you get Raven? You've used it in just about everything. So
I love ravens. You know, My husband is an entrepreneur, just through and through entrepreneur. And when we used to live in Blaine, before we moved up to Ogilvy, he had a business building gas tanks for pickup trucks and selling tires out of our garage at a corner lot in Blaine. And he worked with a guy who was a graphic artist, and the guy said, well, let's have a bird. You know, let's do something that is different. And so this guy put a little bird on a wire. And I thought, boring. So when we moved, but that's what he had at the time, was this little black bird on a wire. So when we moved up to Mora and we started thinking about birds, I said, man, this company's got to be named something more aggressive, something fun, something black, you know, something you can do something with in a logo. And then I started reading about ravens are mischievous and they're survivors and they eat roadkill and they're intelligent, you know, and they do what they have to do to survive. And I loved it because, man, I found out I did whatever I had to do to survive.
So,
Kevin,
Yeah,
Kevin and I have been knocking around all the time.
Maybe you want, I get Linda's newsletter once a month, and I love reading it. And just like the rest of you, you probably get 1,000, however many emails a month. And it's the one email I pass on to my 2 kids. And I just love your newsletter. It's short, it's sweet, it's simple, and it's so true. Thank you.
If you'd like a copy of it, give me your business card and I'd be happy to put you on my mailing list. It comes out every week, Kevin. It just seems like
Sorry. I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah.
I highly recommend you sign up for it.
he only reads the once a month one. He misses
Oh, I
it.
see.
So, I kind of know this, but maybe you can talk about it. What's Elmer doing in the backyard?
Well, Elmer didn't retire. First of all, he made me a dragon, a fire-breathing, 10-foot-tall dragon.
Cool.
It sits in my front yard, and you're welcome to come in. It's a geocache site. The website is mmdragon.com, so he built that. And then my husband is a precision shooter. And in his career, he's tried to kill a prairie dog at 2 miles. And he has come within 6 inches at 2 miles. And then he said, this process is out of control. I don't want to do this anymore. Because
They're gonna pull it.
yeah. No. But you're right, that would have done it. 50 caliber or something. But he wasn't using 50 caliber. A bigger bullet. So now what he's doing is he's actually machining Blaser barrels. Blaser's a high-end German barrel. He's machining Blaser barrels. And to his knowledge, no one else in the world is making these barrels, and they're calibers that Blaser does not make. So he's not competing with Blaser.
But they fit the Blaser.
Just that'll fit into their guns are
Frame.
components. So you snap different pieces together and you can.
Always wanted one.
Yeah. Me too. Cost more than my car. So that's what he's doing. Heidi.
I was gonna say the cards that you were passing around, you had sent handwritten thank you cards to Doyle and myself and probably many others, thanking us for, or congratulating us on an event that we put on this past February. And I just think in this day and age that, like you said, it rarely happens that you get a card or a thank you card or anything handwritten, and I just think that goes so far, even today. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thanks. I read a lot of cards. I think it's important. It's that personal touch. Sandy.
I just have to say I've known Linda in,
Don't say how much.
no, but in all of our different lives that we've each lived, we have at sometimes not seen each other for a while, then miraculously we'll reconnect again, and it's one of those relationships that is so special to me. And in my new position that I have as the Women's Business Alliance, Linda has very graciously offered to be a partner in this as we're creating our women's business groups, and to serve as a facilitator and with our conference and things. And so I am so excited to have Linda as our partner, and she's the best.
Thank you. Am I red? Steve, that's your question, am I red?
Your strengths, what are your top
My strengths are really annoying. Yeah.
Hey, you're my boss, you're not annoying.
You have to say that. But I'm positivity, maximizer, strategic, and my last two are activator and achiever. So I am bam, 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 let's get this done, let's do this. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah.
Somebody you want on your board.
So, thank you very much. This has been really fun. And would you please return, oh, good, the cards are coming back. They're the only set I have, and I have 44 years of set of cards there.
So, let's give Linda and Will another thank you for that. And also, least I forget, and I'm going to get it right this time, let's thank Neighborhood National Bank and Maura Doyle up here for the refreshments today. And we will close out the meeting with just a quick egg timer, 30-second spiel. First of all, I'll ask the question I asked last time. Does anything have anything, does anybody, see, I'm not doing well today.
It's catching.
Yes. Does anybody have anything that they brought here today that they want to talk about? Seeing and hearing none, we have plenty of time. But I'm going to take your cue, and I'm going to start in the back of the room, and I'm going to start over here, because I know it's her first time, and I'm going to put her on a spot, and she's a co-worker, and I know she is never at a loss for words.
So what is she supposed to do?
What am I supposed to do?
Tell us your name,
Oh,
what you do, why you're here, what brought you here today, and how much money you make.
Nice try.
My name is Jennifer Baser. I'm the Member Services Manager at East Central Energy. I talk a little fast sometimes, so if I do, just tell me to slow down. I came because I really wanted to hear Linda's story, and I'm also interested in patents because we have a logo and other things at East Central Energy that I'm responsible for. But I did want to hear Linda's story. I've known Linda quite a long time, but I've heard bits and pieces of her story at different places, and I thought it was a great opportunity to come and hear the story, and then an opportunity to meet other people in the community. So that's why I'm here today.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Second meeting.
Yep. John Sandberg, dairy farmer by trade. I'm looking at trying to get a product for the maple syrup industry for basically small scale maple syrup sap collection, and looking for information and ideas on the process to get that complete.
Thank you. Sandy.
Sandy Boyd, I'm the director of the Women's Business Alliance, which is a resource networking group for women entrepreneurs that are either in business or wanting to start. And so wanting to share that we have this resource available to you. We are planning a women's business conference that will be held on October 10th at the Northern Lights Conference Center on 169, so in this area just north of Princeton. And again, we'll be starting some groups for facilitated conversation and discussions and all kinds of other resources from the Entrepreneur Fund, who is our host.
Okay, and before I get to Nancy, I didn't purposely skip him, but he's dancing around the room back there trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
So, I'll let him introduce himself, because he fired me today, so.
I'm the
Fires us every day.
CEO of this organization, but I have the best team you could ever imagine. And I'm not firing either one of these two. And she has the ability to fire me
Yes,
as our board chair.
Doesn't she have the ability to revoke your
Just shush.
retirement, Joe?
You be quiet. So, and I come because I just learned so much. Will, Linda, I just loved it, and I have ideas, and so I'm not gonna probably ever use them, at least I know where to go if I decide to go there.
Okay, Nancy, sorry about that.
That's fine. I'm Nancy Hoffman. I'm with the Chisago County HRA EDA. And so we work with businesses trying to attract business to the area and help businesses grow. We're also a small business development center office. And because of that, we provide consulting services to small business, business planning, that type of thing. But because of that especially is why I like to come here. I'm learning, so that I can share some things. I can't get into detail on patenting, but I certainly can give a little bit of advice and maybe direct them to the right place. And so I learned so much from these last 4 meetings, and I look so forward to coming to the Entrepreneur Club. So that's why I got.
Hey,
Heidi Steinmetz, Kennewick County EDA, and I'm just gonna say ditto.
Yeah.
We try and copy what Nancy does, and it's just we're also,
is that a copyright infringement?
probably. But we also have SBDC, Small Business Development Center outreach office in Kennewick County. So this is only my 3rd time being here. I was sad to miss the last one, but I really look forward to these. It's just for learning and hearing the stories, and I hope I can make every future one, because they're just great.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna skip you since we already did an introduction. This is your second one?
Second one, yep.
See, you get my name.
My name is Julie Annis. We've somewhat recently moved back to Minnesota. I'm new to the area, and so I'm just trying to figure out my place, my next iteration, I guess. We've grown a lot and we're home to stay, so I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to be this time.
Hi, I'm Greg Workman. I'm the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center. So my office is out of Brainerd. I was at the initial meeting when the gentleman from Wisconsin came up and talked to us about this, and I haven't had an opportunity to be at one of the sections before, so finally had a chance to do that, and so I appreciate it, and great session. Hopefully maybe I can take some of this back to Brainerd and duplicate that as well.
Kevin.
Kevin Anderson, I own a small company in Pine City, Minnesota, and I was am on the steering committee for this group that we're here on, and I come here, if I can give some advice, that's fine, but I certainly like all the presentations, presenters you've had. I learned a lot here, and hopefully I can bring that. I'm on the Pine City EDA and a lot of different organizations, so maybe I can share some of the knowledge I get here, so.
And how long have you been on the Pine City EDA?
I was too long. I was with the original, one of the original members, and I've been president of that EDA for many, many, many years. So we do what we can there to attract business. So wish we had like counties over here, but we're a little bit smaller.
I'm Derek Zeiler. I'm a commercial vice president with Unity Bank. Prior to coming to Unity Bank, I spent 17 years with U.S. Bank. And during my time with U.S. Bank, I also served on a number of small business and loan boards for Northwest Regional Planning in Spooner, Wisconsin, and we helped small businesses, startup loans. We ran a number of innovation incubator centers and such. So now that I've transitioned over to Rush City, it's a natural fit to come to these meetings and gain some additional information to pass it on to my clients at Unity. So it's always a good time. Every meeting I've been to, which is, this is either number 3 or number 4, you learn something new. So it's definitely a positive.
I'm John Bitzer. I work at Diversified Bronze and Manufacturing here in the Brand Industrial Park. And one of the roles I have is the marketing person. And so coming here, very stimulating in terms of marketing ideas and whatnot. So very glad to be here and very glad this group is here.
My name is Mackenzie Bitzer, and I work for APS as a small animal technician, and I like to come here to learn about different ideas and find motivation in people.
This is yours.
I'm Kim Harcher. I've had several different business adventures in my life, and I'm at a point where I'm reinventing myself again. This is my 3rd meeting, and I'm like addicted. And what a good addiction, right? And it's just every time I learn something new, and I get excited every time, and it's like, oh, it's
It's
tonight.
just the snacks, right?
Well, that's
Yeah,
always good.
free snacks.
So.
My name is Cliff Leggard. I own Eagle Plumbing Services, and I'm starting to use my brain again. I've had to be relaxed and worry about business for a long time, and now the creative side is coming back out. And I have a couple ideas. A couple friends of mine told me I need to talk to a patent attorney, so I maybe give you a call. But yeah, this time I do it. Last time it got stolen.
Do it right.
Where's your business?
So
Where's your business?
Cambridge. I'm all over actually. I was here earlier today. So.
Good. This is your first one, correct?
Is that-
This is your first one?
Yes.
Good. Welcome. Tom?
Tom Willett, company's TRW Consulting. I work for this gentleman and do work similar to Nancy and Heidi. And you mentioned business incubator. We took an old elementary school in Springfield, Ohio, and I lived there and converted a business incubator, which happens to be the Small Business Development Center for the region. So here to learn.
Well,
Hi, I'm Well Nelson, and besides being the big bad banker,
No, you're a good baker. He's my baker now. He's a good baker.
she did say no offense.
I have a passion for economic development, so chair of the Canadian County EDA, and I'm also an active member of GPS, and I also want to plug at the beginning that GPS and the ERDCs are one of the, and ECD are kind of the founding, or kind of the support mechanism for this group. And I always make the comment, this is my plea, talk about this. The hardest thing is to get entrepreneurs or people to identify themselves. And when they know that there's some other entrepreneur that's coming to these sessions, they feel more comfortable and they come. And again, that's the best marketing we can have for this group is word of mouth. So please talk about it. You never know who you're going to engage and get them here. So.
You just stole all my final thoughts.
Well, I'm Lyanne Hupel, and actually the reason I came was because I've been riding shotgun with Linda more years than and I've been around to watch this process from working in the cities to today, and so I just invited myself along so I could hear what she was going to say.
Well, good. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
And this is your 4th one, correct?
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it started at 6:30, so I apologize for being late. I was trying to squeeze. I'm a pet sitter. I have a pet sitting company, but I also have a lot of, I don't know, I guess I have kind of cyclic inventions, inventive ideas and whatever. But I was trying to deal with 4 dogs, different households before I got here. I come here for motivation and support and courage. Help me develop courage to go forward with some of the ideas that I have.
Sign up for the cute guy in the back.
Take my glasses
I left him on the
off.
table.
Jordan Zeller with East Central Regional Development Commission. We serve Chisago, Isanti, Kennebit, Mille Lacs, and Pine counties. I do economic development. I always say that I'm never the smartest person in the room. I just have a good Rolodex. And we kind of specialize in connecting folks to the resources and services to help them kick butt and take names in business to get things started or to bring your business up to the next level. In the back of the room, we've got some business assistance directories. Feel free to grab one of those. It's also on our website. And always happy to sit down with anybody to kind of play counselor. You tell me what you want to do, where you're at right now, where you want to go, and we'll go through and start brainstorming some ways and making some connections for you to help bring it to the next level. We also have a small business revolving loan fund. A lot of other partners that do that as well, other folks in the room here that have loan funds as well. But short answer, you've got a $100,000 project, you go to the bank says we'll lend you 60, you reach in your pocket, you've got 10, you're 30 short. We'll come in, take a second fiddle to the bank if you're going to create jobs, grow tax base, do good stuff. And if you've got a bigger project, millions of dollars type project, you know, that gap is, instead of 30,000, it's now 300 grand. That's more money than I have, more money than the Pine City EDA, more money than anybody else. We kind of play poker, everybody antes into the pot, and we make the deal happen to create.
Go to East Central Electric then.
That's where the money is. That man has your checkbook, right? So, but happy to connect folks and put people, get them connected to the things that can help the business. So my cards and our business directories are in the back, so please help yourself to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, I saved myself for last. And Doyle really did steal a lot of my thunder at the end, but my name is Mark Nelson. I work here at East Central. I've had the pleasure of working for 2 different electric cooperatives. And at one point, my claim to fame was I worked at 2 different electric cooperatives and I was still in the same office because I worked in Superior, Wisconsin. And I worked for a company called Heaven Lakes that merged with East Central in 2003. 4 or 5 years ago, it'll be 5 years now coming up in August, I moved down here to be closer to the home office and do a few other things. I work for one of the greatest companies, okay? Obviously, I can joke with the CEO, I can joke with the board president, and I can joke with my coworker.
Yeah.
And we do that every day.
Every day.
This is a fun place to work, okay? But when it comes right down to it, we put our nose to the grindstone.
Yep.
But back in October, as the gentleman alluded to here, we brought in a speaker, Terry Whipple from Juneau County. He is a speaker, an economic development person from Juneau County, Wisconsin. And he is the first economic development guy that I heard that didn't talk about, geez, the big box stores or this, that. I mean, he had this, you know, the inventions and the entrepreneurs, and it's something that I hadn't heard. So I asked him to come over, he did a presentation, and then left. I went to that guy there, and my boss, who's his direct report, and I said, you know what, we need to do something like this. But it's really not in East Central's wheelhouse. All I want to do is host it. I got the guy back there in the room that can connect the dots. I met Jordan a couple of years before that and quickly learned exactly what he said. You need help? Go to him, because he'll connect the dots. He's got his business card and relationships out there everywhere. And I talked to him, I don't even think he was halfway home when I called him and said, Jordan, East Central wants to help get this going. I need you. And then we got Nancy on board too right away with GPS 4593, and the 3 of us sat there for 2-3 meetings, scratching our head, back of the envelope, writing this stuff down, all these great ideas, and we said, you know what, we need some more help. Linda's been in there, Doyle's been in there. If I miss you, I'm sorry. Kevin's been in there. Lauren has been in there. You know, these folks, there was a number of folks that helped us get this thing kicked off. And when we first started, we were thinking, maybe this fall we'd actually get something started. And all of a sudden, one day, Jordan's like, we're gonna get this kicked off next month. And I'm like, next month? Seriously? But I'm happy that you're all here. I know the first meeting I missed, I'm like Heidi, I hated to miss it, but I had a family vacation plan, and actually I had a couple of employees of East Central here that were actually sending me texts. I actually made my wife drive. We were on a driving vacation, and I says, the meeting's about to start. I need to be by my phone. You need to drive for a while. We missed a turnoff, by the way, because I was. And then to top it all off, the CEO was over in Wisconsin at a meeting that I was supposed to be at, and he's sending me texts at the same time. And it's all good. Heidi, I have to miss next month because the CEO and I are going to actually be at a meeting. So you all get the pleasure of somebody else standing up here, probably Jordan, who's much better at Mr. Radio than I am. But I hate to miss next month. I cannot be here, but I hope it's a success. I hope you find value in this meeting as well as the rest of the meetings, including next month.
If you haven't signed up for our email distribution list, we have a website, ecmnbusiness.com, or just put your email address on the sign-in sheet out there, and we will get you on the list to keep you up to date with what's going on each meeting as we announce the speakers.
Let me find it.
There it is.
Right there, correct?
Yep.
All right. Yes, please do that, and please know that Linda's presentation, we'll get that uploaded as soon as possible. Also, we are video recording again, so that will be on YouTube. If you missed the last one, you can go out there, just search Inventors. I just searched
We'll put a link on the website, but I'll try to get it done by the weekend.
Yeah, okay. Nancy, that's
Well, I was just gonna say, that this, these are being taped, so if you do have to miss one, it would be online.
Or tell your friends, both presentations, great. Pass these over, send a link over to somebody you think would benefit from watching.
And I'm going to steal the last bit of thunder that Doyle stole from me. Tell your friends. Bring them here. If you liked it, bring somebody new. That's my challenge to you. Other than that, Will is still here if you need to talk to him. Snacks are still there. I will slowly be cleaning up, and I promise not to kick you out until quarter after 8. Okay? Other than that, thank you, everybody.